I'm back a little bit. I'm kind of back. The Cardinals, a lot of good things have happened in the past 7 to 10 days, something that hasn't happened since the signing of maybe Zach Ertz. You know what I mean? Something along those lines. But here we are, finally back. We've got the homie Spex with us. We've got JJ with us. We have a lot to go through. I want to touch on Devin Booker. I got to touch on Deandre Ayton. Everybody knows my takes on DA. And obviously, we're finally going to touch on Kevin Durant a little bit more on this podcast. So, man, it is really good to be back. I'm happy to be with y'all. This is going to be a great podcast, and it's only part one, because we got part two in about 45 minutes to an hour with Blake Murphy from Revenge of the Birds coming up on another stream for the Cardinals. So he's on fire podcast. Welcome back to me.
Urbanchi sets, looks up, and it is caught! Dylan Strong! Blitz coming, Matthews, Palmer extending the play, crosses the field, Larry Fitzgerald. There he goes, it's over. It's insane to the 4-yard line. Crowder looking, throws it alley-oop. Oh! He puts it down! He puts it down! They're getting a little wobbly. It's downfield, just out-of-use. The foot race. They won't get it. Center field. The Diamondbacks are world champions.
It's kind of good to see some of those highlights again. It reminds me why I fell in love with Arizona sports just every single time I see it. We need to get right into it. Fellas, welcome. Specs, welcome. JJ, you've been holding it down. I want to hear from you, man. What's been going on with you and how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm glad to see you back, Evan. I didn't realize it's been like six weeks, close to
6 weeks since episode 68, and we're on episode 69.
Yeah, so crazy, but I've been doing good. You know, as for everybody knows, I've been holding down the fort a little bit. But yeah, just pushing out content whenever we can with the After Dark show, and just whatever stuff that comes up. Specs has hopped on a video within that time. Talked about one of the flex updates a couple weeks ago. So, but it's been fun. You know, same old, same old. Monsoon season's crazy out here. It's very off and on, humid as fuck. So, you know, just try to stay indoors, stay hydrated. But I've been, you know, just riding the wave, man.
Yeah, you have. You've been crushing it. But while you've been gone, the one, the only Devin Armani Booker got supermaxed. He got supermaxed with like 4 or 5 other stars, right? So I feel like that's kind of been lost a little bit in some of the stuff that's gone on recently. We need to touch on that again. Devin Booker, supermax. He's with the Valley the next 5 years, 6 years actually, because it's an extension, I believe. And then we tie up Monty Williams today. And then earlier, obviously, Deandre Ayton gets tied up. James Jones got one earlier. I mean, this is a really good time. Like, this is an up and up, you know, past the game 7 shit, past the best team in the league and flaming out. These dudes are still young. We have a young GM. We have a young NBA head coach. I mean, compared to quite a few other NBA coaches. We have a young duo, a young Mikal Bridges, even if the KD thing doesn't happen. So the fact that we could get Devin Booker locked down, the man, everybody wants to play with him now, I think, is the biggest win. And even if we don't make the big free agency splash that we want, I think having this core to move forward with in the future is enough of a victory for me this offseason to get excited, to continue to get excited. Specs, I haven't heard from you yet. What did you think about the Devin Booker contract situation coming out like within the first minute of free agency?
Well, I think it was well deserved. First of all, this guy's been here for the entire like Suns thing, going from 2015 when they were one of the worst teams in the NBA for that, like, I guess 3-4 years that happened. And then just to see them succeed, him like be there the whole time and not really say anything bad about the franchise or try to be traded or anything like that. I think that was really awesome, and he fully deserved it. He is worth the money. For me, looking at it as like a player, like no doubt he deserved it. So I think that was, besides possibly getting KD, the most important move we could have made. just getting him locked down for, I think it's the next 5 years you said. It's all deserved money. And especially getting Monty Williams and James Jones, them also extended. They deserved it as well. They've been a really big part of this Phoenix Suns team.
We have him for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, plus he has an option for the last one. So, yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, yeah.
Vlogs, what's good, homie? What's good? Westville, what's going on? Roy, what's going on? Xavier, what's going on? We appreciate y'all. Hit the like button, share this out, all that fun stuff. You know the drill. JJ, let me hear from you about Devin Booker signing 1 minute into free agency.
Man, it's like it's beautiful to see as an Arizona sports fan, because it's very rare when you get to see someone as homegrown as Devin Booker has been, playing for Arizona professional sports. It's crazy to see just his progression, because first he was supposed to be just a spot up shooter coming into the league. He was supposed to be like a Cam Johnson role, but his constant repetition and practice of playing one-on-ones until he beat everybody, and him just perfectly crafting his game to the point where Tim McDonough and Igor gave him the keys to sort of lead the way and be the sole scorer of the team. And he's been through hell and back with constant bad rosters, constant bad draft picks, and he's been able to push through that. And within that time, he put up one of the most stellar games ever, a 70-point piece on the Boston Celtics in Boston. And then a couple years later, he was able to get teamed up with DeAndre Ayton, which we'll get into him a little later, and he's become one hell of a player. And them two together just alone have been really holding it down. And now you fast forward to now, and he deserves every penny. He deserves all the guarantees and incentives that he gets. And it's really sad seeing all the hate that Booker gets. I'll never fully understand it, especially him having one of the coldest 2K covers that come out in recent memory.
Yes.
Yeah, bro.
With that cover, and then with all the guarantees that are coming in, and then it sounds like Nike's going to be dropping Kyrie like when his contract ends, and it's sounding like Booker is going to get a signature shoe soon. So with all this and stuff, like how much longer can you hate on this guy? All he does is perform. He shows up, and if you want to throw Game 7 in his face, you can go ahead, but it's not going to hold up, because he shows up 98% of the time.
Because that was on the whole team.
Yeah, that was on the whole team, dude.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was playing a 1v5. I didn't know that.
No, yeah,
no, exactly.
I asked people a while back, well, not even a while back, not even a week or two. I was like, why does Devin Booker get disrespected? And the most common thing I saw was Game 7, but okay, but he was getting disrespected before Game 7. This isn't some new thing. I'm like, why? And no one could give me an actual answer. It was just, he's annoying. He cries for calls. That's almost every superstar. I know, every superstar and their mom cries for calls. Even come on. I still don't understand it to this day. I've never really gotten a valid answer.
No, that's because there's not one. It's because the Suns aren't pushovers anymore. That's why.
Yeah.
And he's chosen to stay in Phoenix as opposed to leave for their favorite team. Yeah. That's why people hate him. I mean, I don't understand the love for Jason Tatum versus the hate for Devin Booker. I think that should be kind of synonymous with each other, because they both loved Kobe and mentored their game after him to a point. But, and I love what Devin Booker said about him and Jason Tatum, loving Kobe Bryant and everybody, coming down on him, the next Kobe, yada, 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 all that kind of thing. No, Kobe inspired him. That's the difference. Kobe just inspired him. It's yeah, of course he took those moves because Kobe took them from Jordan, man. Because why? They work. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with trying to mimic their game or look like him that much. No, those moves work, and they just proved it through 4 different decades. So that's why everybody has that comparison to Kobe, and anybody that loves Kobe is going to hate Devin Booker because of that. Look at the hate between Kobe and LeBron back in the day, right? Kobe fans hated LeBron and LeBron fans hated Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Because they wanted their favorite team to be the best. So it just comes back to them. It's a very selfish point of view. But at what point, if Devin Booker gets his own shoes, he's on 2K23, again, as you said, the best cover in 2K history.
I'm trying not to be biased, but
try not to be biased. It is.
It's the coldest one.
Point blank is. But at what point will he be that transcendent superstar, or can he be? I'm of the mind, if we do get Kevin Durant, I think Book is going to average 28 points per game. If we don't get Kevin Durant, I think he could average 30 to 31. I think we're going to see more of a revenge tour from Book this season than we saw last season. That's just my own thing, but and I think that's going to transcend him to that next level and be in the MVP conversations. Do you guys think he's going to get into that MVP conversation, become that transcendent superstar? Is it possible for Book?
Well, hold on. He was in the MVP conversation. Let's not forget that he was in the MVP conversation.
No, I'm talking. No, I'm talking about being a legitimate contender.
Oh no,
we were just happy he was fifth and he was on that list that gets pulled up.
No,
I'm saying talking legitimate contender.
Even before, I was kind of pushing because, and I give all these reasons, like they were number 1 seed, and the stats he was putting up. But I think this season he's gonna do even better. And since the way he ended last year, like in the regular season, I think more people pay attention and see how he does this year. I think he's going to be an MVP candidate. That's the best way I can put it.
If he comes into the season with Kevin Durant, that means Chris Paul is taking a back seat, and Chris won't be so ball dominant. So that's more ball in Booker's hands. And the times that we saw Point Book this past season looked a lot better than previous seasons. It looks like he has more control and stuff, and he just needs to work on working through double teams. And once he can get that down pat, which KD is one of the best in his class that can, clear through double teams and work in isolation, I think Booker's going to pick up a lot from KD, and KD's going to pick up a lot from Booker. And I think they're just really going to contrast with each other. But even if KD doesn't come, I think Booker is on a mission to prove why he's on a 2K cover. I think he's showing out to put a nice ring to his upcoming shoe, supposedly, and just to kind of shut up the haters and stuff, because Booker's the best shooting guard in the game right now, and seeing Warriors fans compare Clay to Booker,
best two-way shooting guard too.
Yeah, the best two-way shooting guard, and they want to say who's the better defender right now. It's so stupid. Booker, I think he's going to be shooting for the MVP level, but I think at the end of the day, he just wants the ring. So I think Finals MVP is a lot better than regular season MVP.
Yeah,
I'd agree. Yeah.
This past season, he actually shot 2% worse than the previous seasons, where he was shooting 48.9, 48.4. I see that being a career high next year. I really think Book is going to show out, and he's going to prove someone. I mean, 26.8 he averaged last year, 25.6 the year before, and then 26 the previous years. Dude has averaged 26 points for 4 straight years, and everybody hates him.
Right.
How ridiculous. He's averaged 26 points a game for the past 4 seasons.
I don't get
Devin Booker is that dude. And you know what confirmed it? All the rumors that I've been talking about with you guys, and Flex has been talking about, all these dudes want to play with Devin Booker. We don't get KD. What's the next one? We're going to get LeBron then. Because if the Lakers don't get Kyrie, LeBron wants out, and then LeBron comes to Phoenix for the next 2 years.
That's so crazy to think about when I heard that. I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of 50-50 about LeBron,
but we don't have to give up as much for LeBron as we would for KD.
Yeah,
right.
That is a benefit.
You're talking about Jay Crowder and Dario Saric going over there with a couple first-round picks, call it a day. Match, maybe give him campaign or something, right? And then, or Landry Shamet, that's fine. We get LeBron, Cam Johnson, Mikal, DA, I'll take that too.
Right.
I mean, the only bad thing I could see is like younger players like not developing as well, because that's very common with LeBron-led teams. But even then, what young play? I mean, there's not that many young players. We don't utilize the draft. I'm thinking like Cam Johnson and them, but again, he also does utilize players as like spot up shooters. So I mean, guys like Cam Johnson are good at that. So I mean, we're not gonna have a lot of ISO players, obviously. So yeah, I think it could definitely work. It just honestly depends.
It's crazy what the things that could happen. So I hope we get KD. I really do. I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose Mikhail. But you know what? You do what you got to do. But then Flex comes out with Coast to Coast podcast last night. Everybody take a listen to Dan Duarte and Flex from Jersey. They said that there is a possibility where we could also be keeping Mikhail and trading KD for Cam Johnson picks, whatever it may be. So are you really telling me that we could legitimately in a real world have CP3, Book, Mikhail, KD, Deandre Ayton? Oh boy,
that's starting five I've seen in a while.
But the
that's
thing
a super
with
team. That's a super team.
But the thing with Devin Booker and being the leader, I think he's going to take that leap, man. He was only 25 still. Nobody on this podcast, including myself and including anybody that's going to listen to it, can say that they were a leader at 25 years old, a true leader. Not to mention of a superstar team. Like, how many superstars won a championship at 25? You can say Kobe, sure. Who was his coach? And then you had Shaq, who had already been in the league for X amount of years. I'm talking about a guy to lead his team and win. There's a few.
Yeah.
But
they're also rare for a reason. It's like very rare to do something like that, and you can see who those guys are. Most of them are like Hall of Famers or legends.
Right. You can't compare him to Luka because Luka ain't gotten to the finals or have a title either. That's what I'm trying to say. So if Luka doesn't have one in the next 2 years, that's exactly my point.
I don't think the Mavericks will do that well. I think Luka will. I expect Luka to do well, but as a team, I don't see the Mavericks. I think that was their peak as of right now. They could prove me wrong though. Luka could do even better than he has, and they could get.
I do like Christian Wood over there, but I guarantee you Christian Wood is going to want out after 2 years, and he didn't want to play with Luka.
I don't think that also translates to a Western Conference Finals appearance. Like I said, I think that's their peak. I don't see them going any farther with the roster they have right now,
especially in next year's West. So I can't wait to have another long 17-hour podcast where we pick 1 through 15 or 16 in each league. Specs, you'll have to join us for that. So Book, man, getting Book on was priority numero uno, as it should be, because that's his number. Let's get into Deandre Ayton. I'm a little surprised that he's still on the roster, to be honest with you. I really am. But at the same time, I'm not surprised. And we even said it on here. That is the best move. Keep DA. I didn't want to lose a 23-year-old center and see what could have happened because we didn't want to pay him. I'd rather take this risk, check him out for the next 3 to 4 years, not performing, maybe try to move him at that point. So, all right. He didn't get his bag in the offseason. Prove it 1-year deal. Got pissed off. Didn't want to play no more. All right. Now you get your money. So now we're going to see what it's like both ways. You didn't get your bag, and now you got your bag. Now there's no excuse, right? There's absolutely no excuse to not see Deandre Ayton get 22 to 12, right? 22 and 11. I think minimum should be for him. Now, I also do think because of this contract number, he's going to get more attempts. Chris Paul's going to go down. Ayton's going to go up. If Chris Paul loses 2 attempts and goes to DeAndre Ayton goes from 11 to 13 attempts. And Chris Paul goes down to like 12. Like, boom. There's your difference right there, right? Like, I'm happy with 2 to 3 more attempts per game. He'll probably get more. But is it fair to have that expectation on him now? Because everyone's like, oh, he's young, he's this, he's that. Well, homie, now he got paid. Dude is going to get 33 mil for the next 4 years. He got his bag. Now he's starting to go into his prime. At what point can we hold DeAndre Ayton accountable? And there was a lot of stuff coming out right away being like, yo, are people going to be harder on him or less hard? Like, no, you get paid more and you're the number 1 pick. You're going to get a little bit more pressure, as you should. Right? And I open it up to both of you guys. JJ, you want to start?
Yeah. like I hate to refer to a old interview question with Da when he was asked like, what was his main goal, and he said to make it to a second contract, and he probably didn't realize like how fast reality would come, playing with one of the most piss poor franchises in the last 10 years, being just within a couple years into the finals, being favorited for the next 3 years. I think a lot came at him. A lot of stuff. We've been on this podcast. We've been really critical about him, rightfully so, because there was things that he needed to change up, and he did. He's gotten better just about every year. But now,
especially the second half of last season.
Yeah, especially the second half of last year. Yeah, and in the playoffs, he showed out the whole time, and he did his best against Giannis. No one can stop Giannis. So the fact that people killed Da during that time was ridiculous to me. But Da has that max contract now, and yeah, it's a little less. Shout out to James Jones for securing that at a discount.
Wasn't it like $2 to $4 million less a year? Like, it wasn't drastic, but that was about it.
Yeah, but when you're going to a luxury tax, that makes a big difference. So whatever the price tag on that is, with the luxury tax,
boom shakalaka.
It's a pretty big number. But yeah, and got him at that fourth year and stuff. So Da has that money now. He has that generational wealth going for his young kid. He's DA's 23, going to be 24 soon, and now he's going to be held to this pretty much the same standard as Book now. He might get a lot more passes, but at the same time, he needs to show out just about every night, and he needs to leave it all out on the floor. He needs to be put in more conversations about him being a top 5 to top 3 center in the league. We, like us Suns fans, we're preaching it all year. Like, he's a top 5 center. There's no one else that comes close to him below that 5. And a lot of social media people didn't say that. Sports analysts didn't say that. They were just saying, pay that man. But now Da can prove, like, this is why they paid me, and this is why I show out against some of the best centers in the league. And this is why I can totally demolish any other smaller guy that they send my way, or any other center that thinks they can match up against me being Da. So Da has the opportunity to really shut a lot of people up. And like, I kind of don't want to see that because of the Da stands on Twitter. But, if it means us winning,
they're bad. They're bad.
If it means us winning and going the distance, I'm willing to, just mute a couple phrases on Twitter so I don't see them. But
if I get called racist one more time for calling out Deandre Ayton not boxing out, I swear to Christ, man.
No, I was like, what the fuck? Like, how? Like, that makes no sense. Nah, send me that mute list.
I will say this. Da really needs to find an opportunity in the beginning of the season to work on his dribbling game, and then his outside presence too. Because if he
them hands, dog, he just fixes those hands. Damn.
Yeah. If he can, figure out how he can create his own shot from 15, 20 feet out, he becomes more of a threat, and it spaces the floor a lot more. And that gives guys like Mikal Bridges or Cam Johnson, if we don't get KD, the opportunities to drive in, and it's a whole thing. So like, if Da can focus on a couple of things and plus rebounding, like we're looking at someone that's going to be in top 7, 8 in MVP voting. So if he works on a couple of things.
Westville, talk to the homie Swavey Q or whatever his name is on Twitter, and a couple of Rod and a couple of other them dudes.
He writes KD.
That's exactly what it is, and he complains about me on his podcast. I've heard, but I haven't heard his podcast. But no, we're not Xavier. We're not talking about him becoming Embiid or Jokic. I don't think he's not at that level, and he's not going to be. Yeah. But you know what he can do? He can defend them.
Yeah,
he can. That's all we need. We just need him to defend those big dudes and get an extra 20 to 22 points. And Coda Kid, I know you're one of his biggest supporters. All I'm saying is hold him accountable when it comes to blocking out dudes, when it comes to not fumbling the ball, when he gets the chance to make a play, to make plays and
be vocal,
start being able to demand the ball. Demand the ball. Don't just, he's there setting a lot of things up, and I get that screening rules are important, yada yada, but he needs to get to the point where he can demand the ball. And that's what I mean by holding him accountable. He's 24 years old, Coda Kid. So what was Devin Booker doing when he was 24? Carrying the load in the NBA Finals against Giannis and the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? Look at Kyler Murray. He was the number 1 pick. Deandre Ayton's the number 1 pick. You're supposed to show up and show out 9 out of 10 games at this level. Can he make the All-Star game? He can. He should be the number 2 center. Especially if Cat's going to be playing forward and Gobert's a center now up there. Yeah. He should be able to make the All-Star game. That's a good point.
That's a good point. He could get an All-Star this year if he levels up. That's for damn sure. Yeah.
He should be able to get there. Like, he's like a hybrid player between Ben Wallace, Alonzo Mourning with touch like David Robinson. Like, there's all these characteristics that he has, but I can't comp him to one player.
I saw a lot of David Robinson comparisons. I've seen that.
No, he's not.
David
go
Robinson
back and watch some. Go back. It's just he's just different. Yeah. He's just different, and he's not like Alonzo Mourning, who was almost the exact same size and reach, by the way, 6'11" with like a 7'2" or 7'3" wingspan. He's not as good blocking as Alonzo Mourning because Zoe was a beast. And then what was the other one that I just said? Alonzo Mourning.
You said Wallace. You said
Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace. The way he was able to move his feet and the way Ayton positions himself for a rebound, and he kind of stopped doing some of that last year, which made him so good in the playoffs. Specs, you think Deandre Ayton should be held accountable at this point?
I will say that I know Xavier talked about Jokic and Embiid, and I think right now Jokic and Embiid, whoever you put at 1 and 2, they're in a league of their own right now. And then you got like 3 and however. I think DA can get to 3. I don't see him getting on that, Jokic and Embiid level right now at this very second. But I think DA can reach at least number 3 max, And yes, he was the number 1 pick. I do think, yes, he needs to be held accountable for certain things that he does, just like any other player in the NBA, like Booker with double teams. You got to hold him accountable. You got to get better at that. I think if DA could just work on like some simple things like boxing out and, work on his hands, and yeah, he'll be a top 3 center in the NBA. Even if he did get traded to a team like Indiana when that was possible, or even if he does stay on Phoenix, I think he can be a top 3 center. Maybe not scoring wise. You're not going to see DA putting up like 25 and 10 or 25 and 8. I honestly think that he could put maybe like a solid 15 and 10 or 15 and 12. He's going to be good at rebounding. He'll be good on the defensive side. And no, shut the fuck up, Xavier. He's not better than Gobert's not better than him. Gobert's not better than him. No, just no. Like, DA's not a liability on defense, unlike Gobert.
Hard pass. You are not the number 3 best center getting played off of the court in 2 straight playoff appearances.
Yeah. Evan, what do you think about that Minnesota trade? I don't think
we haven't talked. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think that's gonna work out for them.
That was really dumb.
I think that is dumb. I think that is just not gonna work out. But you know what? I've been wrong before. Maybe Twin Towers is back, and maybe Karl Anthony Towns is more suited as the power forward.
I can see it working. But
a 5 out, I think, is the biggest weakness.
Yeah, bro. You just go 5 out to them. Game over. I'm not. Are you kidding me? Like
also
game over times 2.
I mean, Cat gonna be leaving the floor like, thank you.
Let's get into KD because I only want to stay on this stream for 15 to 20 more minutes. We're gonna be hopping on. Go to our channel right now. Part 2 of episode 69. #nice is gonna be coming up on another channel too. We got not another channel, another stream. We got the homie Blake Murphy from Revenge of the Birds joining us to talk all things Arizona Cardinals. Finally, I know everybody here can't wait for football season, which shameless plug, fantasy football, a fantasy football league for He's on Fire podcast, 12-man league, $50 per person. If you want in, go ahead and message me. I know a few people already have. So yeah, hit me up. I want to do that. So we're gonna be talking football soon. KD, man, everything is quiet. Flex keeps saying trust, and the more I'm hearing things, the less we're hearing about the Raptors now, the less we're hearing about the Heat now, right? Because I think everybody's realized, no, you don't want a disgruntled KD over there. And Dan and Flex actually had a really good point. It's like, okay, that's cool. So you trade him to the Heat, you trade him to the Raptors. What's that team going to look like? Are you telling me KD doesn't have to carry the load again on those types of rosters? He doesn't want to do that anymore. That's why he teamed up with Steph Curry. That's why he teamed up with Kyrie Irving.
Yeah,
you come over here, you don't have to do that. You still got CP3. I think Campaign is going to have a monster year. When I say monster, I mean like 12 points and like
for
6
him,
assists.
yeah, for him.
You know what I mean? Like good shooting percentages.
No, Campaign
maybe even 14 points. I could see Campaign being in that 6-man. You know what I'm saying? But listen, KD is coming here, man. I feel it in my bones. I feel it. And he keeps saying August 4th is a big date. That's a week from Thursday. August 4th is a big date because that's when LeBron can like opt in or opt out, or there's something about that date with LeBron.
Yeah.
And the longer it goes out, the better it is for the Suns. And this feels like the Kevin Garnett rumors, man. Over and over again, this feels like Kevin Garnett for Amari or Marion, and then back to Marion, then back to Amari, the swip swap. And we should have just pulled it then, should have just done it. So I'm hoping that they're not getting cold feet and there's some sort of deal that they kind of liked and now they don't know. But I really feel KD's coming, and if you can keep Mikal and Deandre Ayton, which is a conversation we weren't having 3 weeks ago, man, oh man. And vlogs, the Knicks, Suns, Jazz, Nets deal. There's a mega trade coming.
Yeah,
and
what the hell? What's that about?
From what I've heard, what I've been told, and the guys who it could involve a Julius Randle, it could involve Donovan Mitchell, RJ Barrett, a bunch of money, a bunch of picks, Cam Johnson, Mikal, picks from us, KD going somewhere, and Jordan Clarkson or Bogdanovich going somewhere potentially here. Like, if we were to able to keep Mikal, trade for KD, and we get like Jordan Clarkson or Bojan Bogdanovich, like
that's the best roster in the NBA.
I'm not. The rosters don't mean anything. Obviously, we got to prove it in June, and I'm not going to say we're going to be the best team to win it. I'm not going to go there. I'm just saying the things I'm hearing is that there's a mega trade incoming. Obviously, it could be the biggest in NBA history. So that's what that is. Those are the things that are being tossed around right now and have been. And the longer it goes on, y'all, that asking price
dwindles.
It's been dwindling because have you seen like what they've been asking for? Like it seems like they're just like joking. Like, oh, if you offer like I think I saw it was like Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, 1 million picks, like Jonathan Kuminga, like no one's taking that deal. Like the deals they've asked for is insane.
Either.
No, LeBron isn't worth that. It's crazy.
No one's worth that. Like, I better be getting 3 Hall of Fame players for that. Like, you're selling your whole team for someone that might not even be there in the long run. Like, that's dumb. Bro, Bubble Campaign was a different breed.
Yeah, he was.
Right.
Yeah, he was. And then when he spot started for Chris Paul against the Clippers, and he got like 23 or 28, I think it was 28. Yeah, exactly. Westfield, that Gobert deal made it last longer. Exactly. That was can't believe they gave up 4 number 1 picks for Gobert. Never in my right mind. 2, you can talk me into 2 depending on your roster construction. 4,
I mean, I can accept 3, but not 4. 4 is
Danny Ainge about to draft some stuff here, and Utah's going to be dangerous in 3 to 5 years. Utah's going to be in the same position the Cavs are in right now, or the Hawks.
Well, the Cavs are doing pretty well right now.
Flex mentioned in his pod last night, too. I was walking my dog, so I might be butchering this, but he said that because of that Rudy Gobert trade, like all the GMs are basically on the same page. It's like, we're not going to be like that fucking guy over there. Whatever he did doesn't reflect on us. So yeah, you can take that shit, but like that's good to hear. At least no one's willing to roll the dice, and it's like, oh, let's just get KD. We'll see what happens, But that was my biggest point when these rumors first started and stuff, and people were throwing out like Memphis and fucking Golden State and stuff. Well, with the Memphis point, because that was a big talking point for a bit, I'm like, why would KD want to go to a team that probably isn't going to have John Morant with playing with a bunch of kids? Like that, I don't think that's what KD wants.
That was
to do.
a joke.
Going to Toronto, you have to strip that whole roster to get KD over there, and then with Golden State, he's basically taking 5 steps back. So it's like no matter where you go, the road leads to Sky Harbor Airport. So, or Footprint Center. So,
Ethan just made a good point. Multi-team trade is to benefit the Lakers, as long as it gets them Kyrie and LeBron back together. Because I would love nothing more than Kyrie, LeBron, Anthony Davis versus KD, Book, and Chris Paul and Ayton and McHale. I would love nothing more than to see that, and Russ on the other team. Obviously, no, Russ would be traded. I just want to just to stuff it to the Lakers. I would love that.
That would be a crazy series.
No, he's not, bro. No, he's not.
He's not.
I don't think so.
The longer it goes on, the better it gets for the Suns.
I could even honestly see it going into the season a little bit. Like, I think with Harden, that's happened twice, where like the first couple weeks he's on the team, but then he gets like traded. Maybe even the trade deadline. But I think this is something you wait for. Like, whether it's the end of offseason or even midseason, I'd be willing to wait a good amount.
Who was the Rockets GM at that time?
Daryl Morey.
Daryl Morey, same dude that's on the Sixers right now.
Yeah.
Like he was like being kind of like a little bit because like James Harden kept it hush hush to begin with, like right after the season, he was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. And Daryl Morey, like, he leaked out to like the press and stuff, like Harden wants to leave, and we're not willing to, take any offers really, unless it's like some insane sort of offer or whatever. And those really weren't coming in. And Harden's all like, I really want to leave, man. And it took Harden putting on a bunch of weight and him going into a post-game press conference saying, I don't want to be here, to, send him off like a few weeks later. But I don't see that going the same way with KD. I don't know about you, Nick. Yeah, I can definitely see it going into the season a bit, but I like more than half of me says that KD's going to be here a little before training camp or during training camp.
Yeah, I think it'll take a while for the deal to obviously get done, because I don't see a situation where it's a small deal. It's definitely going to be something that will take a long time, which I think for the whole offseason, they've been like kind of working with this and seeing what the best trade could be. But honestly, I could see going into the season, but only if they don't make this trade that they're talking about right now, like the whole 4 or 5 team trade that's going to probably switch up the NBA a lot. Then yeah, that's so many people. Like, that's so many people that I've heard. I've heard like 20 players getting traded. Like, it's insane. But unless that deal falls through, then yeah, I could see it honestly going into the season, which I'm not mad at. Like, imagine Phoenix at a 1 or 2 seed, and then just mid-season, you just fucking add on Kevin Durant, and you give goddamn Dario Saric and Landry Shamet, and like, I forgot who the other guy they'd have to give up. Maybe Cam Johnson, which I really don't want to give up. But I want Kevin Durant. I'm going to be honest. I want Kevin Durant.
Yeah. Whatever it takes to get Kevin Durant. And I feel like regardless if it happens tomorrow or midway through the season, I feel like we're going to fleece the Nets somehow.
Yeah.
But
they're not. You can't win this trade if you're the Nets. You don't win.
Yeah.
You have to take the L.
Unless if like Toronto's all like, you know what? We'll give you the whole roster. That's the only way I could see this going. What do you think of Ethan's question right here?
Yeah, I was about to ask you. Yeah.
Winner of the offseason so far.
I have a thing for a sec, because normally because I've done videos where I like grade the offseason for teams. It depends on your situation. Like Phoenix last offseason, if we look at that, they didn't need to get a crazy superstar player. They just needed to get their roster back and to get those role players, which obviously did benefit for them. So As far as like getting a superstar player goes, oh, man, that's fucking tough. I actually have no idea. I legitimately have no idea.
I would say what Xavier said: Pistons and Celtics.
Yeah,
Celtics
is,
added Malcolm Brogdon. Now coming off a finals loss. Then Pistons, now they're pretty loaded. They don't have Jeremy Grant anymore, but they have a bunch of assets and stuff that they can wheel and deal later. And then Cade and Killian Hayes together.
And Jaden Ivey, I think they drafted.
Yeah, Jaden Ivey, too. They're going to be solid. And I'm going to throw another team in, too. I think the Pacers are going to have a little bit of traction this year. I think they're going to be probably a 7th, 8th, 6th seed. They have that guy from U of A out. I keep on forgetting his name. Then it Sticks. Then Tyrese Halliburton, and they have a solid squad over there, and I think you give them time, and I think that they can really do something too. Oh, Sadiq Bey too.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was.
Sadiq Bey. He's tight.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Sonia?
Oh,
how you doing?
I love Sonia. What the fuck was I gonna say? Oh, what's up, Coach? Finally. I mean, what's new? Me and Jay holding down the pod while you're gone.
Kids, man. Nothing ever goes as planned. So shout out to my wife to being a trooper right now. Sonia, what's going on? Welcome. Good to see you again on here. What were you guys talking about? What I miss?
Ethan asked the question, who do you think has won the offseason so far? And kind of the mass consensus right now is Boston and the Pistons.
Why the Pistons?
I mean, they got younger players, and I said this about the Magic. Like, they could be one of the better teams in 3 to 5 years, but they added a guy like Jaden Ivey, which I think was very important. I
would say, as of right now, if we're talking about change on teams, potentially the Mavericks, but I'm intrigued with what the Timberwolves did, because if it does work, I mean, I think they're the clear winners if it does work, but that's a big if. Still can't believe Patrick Beverley's on Utah. I still can't believe that right now.
Poor coach, man. That's tough.
Oh, so Marvin Bagley, Sadiq Bey, Killian Hayes, Kemba Walker, Cade, Jaden Ivey.
Kemba's going to be...
he's going to be a bot out.
Isaiah Stewart. It's a solid team, man.
It's an up and coming team, but to say they won anything right now, I don't know.
Well, because I think it's hard to say who really won the offseason, because nothing. I know that sounds so crazy, but not.
We're still waiting on the KD news.
Yeah, that's gonna I think change everything.
That's really it, dude. That's really it.
I'm not saying shit about the offseason. I'm literally just waiting until KD happens, and I'll be like, here's what the fuck I think, because it's so hard, because in retrospect, a lot of stuff has happened, but really nothing has happened, if that makes sense.
I mean, we re-signed Book. We actually get to keep Deandre Ayton when everybody thought it was out. You could have an argument the Phoenix Suns have won it so far, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think KD solidifies it, but I mean, yeah, you could say that.
Sonia, that happened with the Gobert trade.
Yeah. Which was
Evan, I got a question for you. So let's say we acquire KD, but we only just get KD back. Just saying hypothetically. Is there a guy out there, a big or small? We obviously need another point guard. Is there a guy out there that you're eyeballing? Because I have kind of a dark horse pick, which I think can help with our versatility.
When this dude gets bought out, I am so curious to see what Kemba Walker would look like on here.
I thought you were going to say Kemba Walker.
I knew you. Didn't you say that before? Was that
Sexton's still out there too?
Yeah. I don't want Sexton. Dennis Schroeder is my. Since he is still a free agent, I'd say Schroeder, just because he's played under Chris Paul,
right?
And it just has that experience already.
I would say no to Sexton, because that's a starting guard. You don't put him as a sixth man. He deserves to be a starter. I mean, he'd be a really, really good sixth man, but no,
he can take more Chris Paul's minutes.
Right now it's the Jazz, because they're if and when they trade Donovan Mitchell, they're starting at square one. But in a few years, that could be, they're not the losers. Maybe it was the T-Wolves at that point. Maybe they were the losers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Rockets losing Christian Wood is a good thing for them, because their younger players can shine. But we got to start wrapping up this segment, part 1, because we have part 2 on our channel, but we're going to be talking Arizona Cardinals football and the NFL in a few minutes, joined by the one and only Blake Murphy. So hop on over there in just a few moments. But Spex, I appreciate you coming on. Talk to me about Monty Williams signing before you go, and just your overall feel of the Suns heading into, or I guess, continuing this offseason right now.
Yeah, no, I think getting Monty Williams is very important. He was definitely the right coach for the Phoenix Suns, and he's been that for the longest time. And I'm confident in Phoenix right now. I'm very confident in them. I think Game 7 should not have represented that team and how good they can really be. I think, honestly, they kind of just broke down at the end, and it was just a complete shit show. And I don't think coming into this next season it's going to be like that at all. I see this team being a championship contending team, and I've been saying that for the longest time.
And this continues it. This continues it. Signing all them dudes continues that, and we can keep it going. You guys, we're not getting Blake Griffin. We're not getting Carmelo. We're not getting Boogie.
Boogie.
We have Saric. We don't need Saric. I just hope we find a way to trade for Frank Kaminsky at the very least sometime throughout the year.
I want Tank back.
We need Tank. We absolutely need Tank. That's what's missing in life. So, man, you guys, thanks again for coming out on this segment. We got part 2 coming on our channel again. Blake Murphy. That way. We've been to the Birds talking Arizona Cardinals. We're going to shut it down here for everybody listening on audio, but catch us in a minute.
Urbanchi sets, looks up, and it is caught! Down strong! Blitz coming, Matthews, Palmer extending the play, crosses the field, Larry Fitzgerald. If he scores, it's over. It's insane to the 4-yard line. Crowder looking, throws it alley-oop. Oh! He puts it down! He puts it down! They're getting a little wobbly. The downfield shot Ayton. A foot race. They won't get it. Center field.